All right, greetings, everyone. Welcome to the 9th Annual Black Sustainability Summit. We are opening up this session for alternative economics with Baba Hekima Kanyama and Sister Alida Toure. And before we get started, we want to pay homage to a near and dear friend, personally of mine, and leader within our community who very recently transitioned. Baba Clark Arrington, for those who do not know, was one of our first presenters at the Black Sustainability Summit, fully moving behind the vision that the elder mamas, Mama Nobantu mentioned earlier, had, and the vision that I had the absolute honor of being able to take the baton and move forward with it. And the space for this would not be possible without those whose shoulders we stand upon. And as they make their transition and as those libraries burn down, it's very important that we retain our own stories and that we celebrate the life of those who have been here before us and for those that have recently transitioned. So today we would like to honor Baba Clark Arrington, who was a pioneer of the cooperative movement. Baba Clark was a pragmatic visionary and used his legal training to address capital formation for worker cooperatives, from developing bylaws that established capital accounts to pioneering preferred stock that maintained democratic control. He had a foundational influence on worker cooperatives. I don't know if anybody's ever had any of the tea from Equal Exchange, but the first time I found out about Equal Exchange was from Baba Clark. And he shared that they used the funds to fund liberation movements by selling teas, and that he was a visionary behind that and continued to uphold that work. And there's so much more work that he has done. I just wanted to share this video our team pulled offline. He did make it into the Cooperative Hall of Fame for his work. And before Baba Hekima begins the presentation on cooperatives, we want to ground ourselves in those who have laid this framework so we can continue that and honor his life and legacy. Thank you all so much for joining us, and I hope that you enjoy this brief presentation on Baba Clark, his life, and we uplift him and his family during this time of transition. And we know he is not dead. He is still alive. His spirit lives on. We will continue to call your name, Baba Clark. Ashe.
Clark Arrington is a serious cooperator with a light touch. Although he has facilitated cooperative endeavors across continents, sectors, cultures, and generations, friends know him first for his good humor, his infectious laugh, and engaging smile. Clark is a cooperative pioneer by almost any measure. How he came to believe in the power of cooperatives and how he learned to put that power to work on behalf of the disinvested is a story to inspire future cooperators. Born in Philadelphia in 1947, Clark Arrington was raised in the small, tight-knit Black community of Lamont in Cheltenham Township, Pennsylvania. He attended grammar school in his predominantly white and Jewish town, where he once saw Dr. King speak at a synagogue. The breadth and diversity of his early friendships prepared him for a lifetime of building relationships across barriers of class, race, and geography. Clark's mother, Florence, who earned a master's degree from the University of Pennsylvania in 1946, resolved to provide her son with the best education available. She sent him to the Palmer Memorial Institute, a prestigious Black prep school in North Carolina. At Palmer, the children of Black professionals were taught from an Afrocentric perspective, learning about leaders such as Marcus Garvey, Booker T. Washington, and W.E.B. Du Bois, all powerful advocates of cooperatives. But it was Garvey's pursuit of economic power for Black people that set Clark on his career path. Upon graduation from Palmer, Clark embarked on a lifetime of barrier breaking. He became the second student from Palmer to attend a white university, Penn State, where he was among the first 2 Black persons to be inducted into the Skull and Bone Society. After graduating, Clark became one of the first male lay teachers in Chicago Catholic schools. He taught at Holy Angels, a meeting place for the Afro-American Patrolmen's League and the Black Panthers. Clark was interested in how a lot of people with a little bit of money could gain economic power. It was a question that guided his study at Notre Dame Law School and led to a job specializing in investment management at the Securities Exchange Commission, where he was one of the agency's few Black attorneys. Armed with legal training and bored with his relevant but unengaging work at the SEC, Clark looked for a way to build economic power for Black Americans. He took a job at the Center for National Policy Review, where he worked to create community-owned venture capital and loan funds. At CNPR, Clark's interest in capital formation encountered the cooperative model. Working with the Federation of Southern Cooperatives and the Minority Peoples Council on the Tennessee-Tombigbee Waterway, Clark found a way to make the economic benefits of a $2 billion project flow to the Black communities most affected by its construction. Clark calls his experience at the Federation transformative. Until then, he was a confirmed capitalist, looking for ways to gain economic power through that system. But Clark learned from Hall of Famers John and Carol Zippert that there was a better way. Cooperative economic development was the best path to achieve Garvey's ideal. Clark became a radical trailblazer in cooperative finance, finding innovative ways to allow worker-owned, social justice-minded businesses to raise capital and be profitable. Most notably, while Clark was general counsel of the ICA Group, he was called in to advise Equal Exchange on ways to raise capital for expansion without endangering worker control. Clark proposed offering non-voting equity shares to the public that would allow for growth, while keeping the business true to its cooperative principles. Called Class B preferred shares, the new financial instrument not only fueled the company's growth, but also revealed radical new possibilities for the relationship between investors and cooperatives. Known as a generous and open colleague, Clark has always been ready to share what he knows with emerging cooperators. He has taught courses on cooperatives, business law, and community development at more than half a dozen institutions in the U.S. and abroad. After creating a master's degree program in community economic development at the University of Tanzania, Clark was tapped to be country director of the African Development Foundation, where he supported the growth of multiple co-ops, one of which was a coffee cooperative started by David Robinson, the son of Jackie Robinson. As a child, Clark owned a Robinson-signed baseball and was at Ebbets Field when Robinson hit a homer over the left field wall off Whitey Ford. Rather than retire and relax upon his return to the U.S., Clark became general counsel at the Working World and later Seed Commons. There, he works to develop non-extractive equity and debt financing for worker-owned cooperatives. After 50 years of working around the world, Clark returned home to Pennsylvania, where he lives on the 8th floor of a building opposite the only synagogue in the world designed by Frank Lloyd Wright. His interests include photography, travel, jazz, art, culture, and history. He is a proud father of 6 children, ranging in age from 41 to 13, and grandfather of 6. If you ask Clark about his motivation in life, he'll point to his education and to his parents, who met at Talladega College in Alabama. Talladega was founded by funds left over from the resettlement of the repatriated Amistad captives. Clark argues if it weren't for the bravery of those rebels and the creation of that college, his parents would have never met, and therefore he would not exist. The connection has given him clarity about his purpose, a sense of mission to create radical change. For embracing his role as a radical changemaker, for leveraging millions of dollars of new investment for social justice cooperatives, for creating innovative financial structures to support economic democracy, and for providing decades of support to emerging cooperators, we recognize Clark Arrington with induction into the Cooperative Hall of Fame.
Hope that was insightful for those who did not know or had the pleasure of knowing Baba Clark. It definitely doesn't encompass all of who he was, but it's a very nice overview, and would love to continue to share his life. And I'm sure that there's a celebration that will be going on in the future to honor him. Baba Hekima, without further ado, I would love to turn it over to you. We'll try to find Sister Alita, but I know you can hold your own as we move into cooperative economics and what that looks like for our people, our community, and your work, the work that you've already done, and wanting to make sure that I give space to you to do so and to read your bio very briefly, and we'll move forward. We see there are a few more people who have joined us. Baba Hekima Kanyama is a husband, father, and grandfather. He's been married to a wonderful sister, Mama Tammuz, Sana Kanyama, for 50 years, y'all. Mo.
54.
Together, they've created a legacy of work and dedication to the community. Their 3 daughters and extended family continue the work. Hekima is the product of the student sit-in movement of the early 60s and the Black Power, Black nationalist movement of the 60s and 70s. He has dedicated over 50 years of his life to the liberation of African people. Born and raised in Charlotte, North Carolina, Baba Hekima earned a Bachelor of Science from North Carolina Central University and went on to study at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee School of Social Work. In graduate school, he was drafted to serve in the U.S. war in Vietnam. He refused to fight in a war he felt was unjust and claimed conscientious objector status and averted federal prison time with the help of his community. After college, Baba Hekima became even more involved in the struggles of our people, becoming a citizen and leader in the PGRNA, the Republic of New Africa. After being targeted by COINTELPRO and confronted by the police, Hekima and his comrades were imprisoned and became known as the RNA-11. After 9 years of imprisonment, Hekima was able to obtain release due to a technicality. While in prison, Hekima wrote on a new approach for Black empowerment. Upon his release, he started to organize and test the plan in Milwaukee and then Atlanta. In 2003, he founded the African Community Centers for Unity and Self-Determination, Inc. The aim is to put in place a permanent intergenerational system to naturally aid us in building power to control the economic, political, and cultural life of our community. This system is called Functional Unity. In 2011, Hekima and others formed a think tank that gave birth to Us Lifting Us Economic Development Cooperative, LLC, also known as ULU, ULU. This global business organization seeks to build, maintain, and pass to future generations institutions and systems that give us the capacity to gain economic control of our communities and nations. Without further ado, I am passing it forward to the magnificent Baba Hekima Kanyama. Thank you so much for joining us, Baba.
Thank you for blessing us with that video of Clark. So fitting. And Clark passed while he was working with us in Ulu and refining the system that I'm going to share with you in a moment. Man, that's really touching. Hopefully I can get a copy of that movie. I'd like to share my screen if that's appropriate.
You should have those permissions, Baba. It should be a bright green square down at the bottom of the screen.
Okay.
You see that?
I'm going to kill my image so I can
Go ahead.
a little bit.
Okay.
Good.
And let me know if you need it. There you go. All right.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to find a way to make it. Oh, here it is. What I'm looking for. All right. Are y'all able to see the pyramid?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Clark calls this cutting edge. I call it revolutionary. What we are in the process of doing is creating an alternative economic approach. We have given it the name New-Ujamaan. And of course, the term Ujamaa is a Kwanzaa principle, means collective I'm sorry, cooperative economics. For our purpose, we have redefined it as New-Ujamaan, meaning family-centered cooperative economics. Again, family-centered cooperative economics. And when we use the term family here, we're talking about, it's synonymous with community or the village, the group. But before I go on, what I'd like to do is share a short video with you, and it's only roughly 3 minutes, and it will encompass much of what I want to share with you, then I'll come back to this. So let's share this with you. Oh, I'm sorry. I've got to put it on slideshow in order to do that, right? Just a moment. See, our youngsters are leading the way, and y'all left me behind with this technology. I don't know, Raina, if you know it, I had my 80th birthday in August, so I'm trying to bring up the rear.
Woo, my fellow Leo. Go ahead, Baba.
Okay, really?
Happy belated birthday. Woohoo!
80, y'all. I'm talking about that's powerful. You and Mama Nobanto, not just not no shortness of spirit, energy. I am just so honored.
Well, you can't put me in the same category with her. I could never work as hard as she.
She is the hard working mama.
Yes, indeed. Okay. Let's share this short video with you and I'll come right back. And pay special attention to the 3 powerful elements in the video.
I feel like I need 70,000 right in a year. Now
A serious question for you. Do you feel we should control the economics of our community? If your answer is yes, and you're serious, consider our powerful plan for success. Gaining economic control of our community is simpler than you might think. Not easy, but simple and doable with the right plan. Our plan, the right plan, has 3 powerful elements. 1, an effective method for aggregating community resources, including capital, labor, and knowledge. 2, an effective method for using our aggregated resources to build a powerful network of group-owned businesses that generate a surplus and other benefit. 3, an effective method for sharing surpluses to grow and empower the community and to build for the future. This powerful approach is the only way to gain and maintain economic power for our community. It's been proven over and over again that individual business ownership is not enough. The addition of group ownership, small, medium, and large, local and global, is the only way. Millions of our people already understand the need and value of economic power and group control. The winning plan and machinery to execute the plan are now in place, with us lifting us.
Yeah, I want to stop it there and go back to our to our all right, thank you. We ask you to pay special attention to the three powerful elements in the short video, and we're going to go back over those very quickly in a moment. But as I was saying, New-Ujamaan as a new economic paradigm, its meaning is family-centered cooperative economics. Family-centered as opposed to individually-centered, which is the dominant capitalistic model. Family-centered as opposed to state-centered, which is prominent in the socialist model. But family-centered in the sense that it's focused on the extended family, the group, the village, the community in a local sense. What we are sharing with you is what I call an economic empowerment infrastructure, so that there is a track to run on, so to speak, for all the good work that we are doing in community. I've been impressed with the presenters for the day and the work, the valuable work that they do. And what we want to do in ULU is to infuse at the base of the community an economic empowerment infrastructure that will strengthen the work that we all do. Now, in the video, we talked about the three powerful elements of our system. They are represented here by the three sides of this pyramidal image, this triangle. On the left side is the pooling or the aggregation of community resources, investment capital, knowledge, skills, labor. And that aggregation takes place for the purpose of building a network of businesses organized as in a cooperative fashion that we own and control as a community. Small, medium, and large, in every industry that we see a need and an opportunity in, always towards the objective of including land acquisition and real estate in various forms. The benefits overall are to create jobs, good paying jobs, with benefits and other amenities, to create and maintain a platform for the production and distribution of products, goods, and services for our community and to the public, global public, if possible. But a very tangible benefit, and we want to highlight, is that we will operate these enterprises with the purpose of creating a harvest, a surplus, or what you would call a profit. Because everything that we're talking about is owned and controlled by the community, the surplus is also owned and controlled by the community. So the building of this network of community-owned business enterprises is featured on the right side of the pyramid. And then to the base of the pyramid is the community. And so we're able with this process and system to then dedicate the surplus to invest in the community. And through a distribution allocation formula, a portion of the surplus is dedicated to further benefiting the workers in the businesses. A portion is dedicated to charity. A portion is to cover administration and coordination. A portion is to reward the investors, which are investment clubs or investment associations formed in the community. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment, not a lot. But the important thing is to know that 50% or thereabouts of surplus on a continuous basis is reinvested in the community to strengthen the network of businesses that are owned and controlled by the community, this network of businesses. Now, this is what separates this approach from anything and everything that we have ever done in the Black community, and possibly in any community. Now, the businesses we're talking about, they're operated cooperatively, but they're not owned by co-ops. They're owned by the community. Individuals and businesses and institutions in the community can become a part of this process, and collectively, we own all of these enterprises. And they only come into existence when there is an idea, a proposal, a plan that's been well vetted and approved, and then funded by the collective. Let me kind of give a notion of how this would be steered, the administrative components of it. Go into the center of the page and you see the UBC. This is a local chapter of Us Lifting Us in a local community. Right now, we're focused on creating the first approved local chapter, or UBC, Ulu-based community. That's what UBC stands for, Ulu-based community. We're creating the first official UBC in Southwest Atlanta. And it will be a prototype. And then once it's prototyped, once we finish it and get it where we want it to be, then it will be duplicated throughout the African world, hundreds of times, hopefully in the future, thousands of times. Each of these UBCs, through their work, will also stimulate the creation of investment vehicles, associations, clubs, or the like. The thing that I want us to focus on when we think about this system is that it's owned and controlled by the community, and that the surplus is owned and controlled by the community, so that administratively we can dictate how that surplus is used based on the formula we talked about to strengthen the community. More than $1 trillion a year flows through the Black community. We know that, or maybe 2 trillion. It doesn't matter what the figure is. Right now, we don't have a mechanism to capture and redirect a sufficient amount of that revenue and to place it into an environment where we can make decisions about how those resources are allocated. Now, this is a process that once started, it continues. So when you look at this, please look at it as an economic generating machine or mechanism, moving from left to right clockwise, and that it continues to move. But you're looking at one UBC now, or one community. So once this prototype is perfected in Southwest Atlanta, then it's going to go to the east side in Atlanta, or to Chicago, or Denver, or Toronto, or London, wherever it needs to go. But essentially, this is what Clark is still working on. You know, I'm still going to use his diagrams and his inspiration. So if you understand this, this is a situation where we treat the local community like a mini nation. And we aggregate, we build economic institutions that we own and control. And when they succeed and the surplus is generated, the harvest is generated, we then dedicate that to invest that surplus in the community for our empowerment. I'll stop there, and hopefully I didn't lose anyone, and I will be available for Q&A.
Give thanks, Baba Hekima.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. There's someone in the chat that said, I need to hear from Baba Hekima. His opinion on the project I have been advocating about supporting Tanzanian villagers, building modern homes with their peasantry and other microeconomic activities. I've been facing hardship to be understood. Well, she needed to hear that. Thank you, Baba.
Yeah.
Is anybody,
But
go ahead. Go ahead,
But
Baba.
I understand that the frustration of being understood. A lot of times we look outside of ourselves for solutions. I would say that much of what is needed for any solution is already with us. We just need to reformat our energies, our attention, and our resources. I'm thankful for that, brothers or sisters' comments.
Sure. Does anyone else have questions as we talk about cooperative development? What Baba Hekima and Ulu have been able to create, examples that they may have led to, challenges, anything that you all would like to ask now would be a great time before we shift over into the next session. Would love to hear from you all. If not, I would like to ask that you all come off of mute and give thanks to Baba Hekima so he can hear your voices and let him know he wasn't alone in here today.
Peace. I wanted to be able to share, well, first give thanks for Baba for sharing and for the work and the sacrifice that it has taken to be able to develop the work to this point. I've formerly founded an organization called Kwanzaa 365, and we were doing a number of things for a number of years, as we do, right? And from that stemmed off a youth program called Sankofa Saturdays, and it was for unschooling and homeschooling and doing some other things with the younger generation to help prepare them for the transition into the work that their parents or older siblings or elders were doing, and then for merging the elders with the young. And, you know, many of those initiatives we have all over the place. Many communities have similar things going on. So I appreciate this work and seeing this. This is my first time hearing of this here. I'm from the Virgin Islands, I apologize. And I'm in East Point. And so looking for as many of these like-minded individuals, groups, opportunities as possible to continue the work that is in me. I'm a third generational Garveyite, and so it's work that we know is needed everywhere. It does not have to be called Kwanzaa. It doesn't matter. But it's the work that we know that is needed for a sustainable community. So I just wanted to say Medase, thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm in East Point as well. Love to speak with you.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
I'll figure out how to get your information. Thank you.
Beautiful. Well, Raina, I just want to lay with the family. Right now, for instance, I'm not sure the number of Black-owned businesses in Atlanta. I see figures in excess of 50,000 Black-owned businesses in Atlanta. I know most of them are single owners, but let's say that it's 50, 60, 75,000, 100,000 Black-owned businesses in Atlanta. And then we point to another city, let's say Kankakee, Illinois, and let's say that there are 50 Black-owned businesses in Kankakee. In each of those communities, the same thing exists. We don't have power. Until we learn how to create some of the business mix in our community that the community actually owns, controls, and can create a large scale environment over time, then we really don't have the mechanism to build economic power. We have to control some aspect of the economic landscape of our communities. We're never going to own it all, but we can do with the resources that we have, a much better job in creating an environment where we can grow these communities, link these communities up. By the way, I didn't explain that the funding reservoir, so to speak, to fund these projects or the combined efforts of each community. We're not looking for a community to fund the projects that are visualized and approved, but all of these communities initially, small numbers, but over time, hundreds and eventually thousands, they all contribute to a common pool of funds that we can build these businesses in local communities. But the collective is still the owner of these enterprises. So I just wanted to mention that. And again, thank you and the family for allowing us to share.
Give thanks, Baba Hekima. I would love to uplift how long you all have been doing this work and pushing it forward. I know it has not been easy. And however, the Black Sustainability Network can continue to support those efforts, make sure that the map that we have that's already identified Black and green businesses, we don't just have Black businesses. So there are a lot of Black businesses that we are aware of, but they also have to have a commitment to the environment. And those are the prerequisites for being within our network. Happy to share that, exchange it, and find ways for us to be very intentional about this push for cooperative economics across our businesses and our community so we can shift the way that we think and truly build Black wealth. Does anyone else have questions before we close out? If not, oh wait, I see two hands have been raised.
Okay.
Mike Strode and Dara, you have already gone, correct? The hand is just still lingering.
Yes, I apologize.
Okay, thank you. I didn't know if you had a second one. Okay, go ahead, Mike.
Yes. So I'm an Ulu member. It took me a while to re-up on some of my membership things, but that is now resolved.
What's the last name?
Oh,
Mike?
Strode.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I'm curious about whether or not there's any sort of cross-section, intersection with ULU and the National Association of Black Cooperators. One of the things that I've been experiencing is a lot of folks who are in that association, and these are folks who have, gone through some of the recent conferences, the Black Co-op conference that just happened in Twin Cities. But folks who are trying to get into cooperative development, and so they're looking for projects to kind of put their hands on, and projects are few and sort of far between in terms of co-op projects that are like up and running or that like have steam to go further. So I'm just curious with this sort of these UBC communities, if there's any intersection with helping junior developers or newer developers rather in that network connect to some of these projects and walk the process of development. Check.
Is that the project with Brother Hans?
I don't. I mean that the National Association of Black Cooperators doesn't have an entity at this point. It's mostly just a community of folks who like are trying who are Black who are trying to develop cooperatives. So just curious.
I don't think we have had any discussions with that association. Would love to have a connect. I'll reach out to you and develop a connection and a working relationship. As you might know, we had to go through a transition. Brother Clark, that was featured earlier, came to us a few years ago and made it known that we had a problem with our legal structure. And so he's guided us into turning it around and creating the current environment where we have a nonprofit mothership and a for-profit subsidiary. And these satellites, these community centers, this is his brainchild for the most part. And so we're coming out of or in the part, in the throes of a transition. And so you may not have had sense of that, but I'll reach out to you with your name. I'll go in the database and reach out to you. Thank you for the inquiry.
Thank you so much. And this is a good time as we transition over to the next space. Baba, thank you so much again. And for those that would like to connect, Mike will be here in Atlanta on Sunday. Mike Stroh with opening us up for brunch on Sunday. So Baba Hakima, we're going to be in East Point at the Black Achievement Fund at their Kemet Club, which is over there near you. So if
I'm
you
a
can't
member. I'm a member, and so are they with Ulu. So
yes, so if
yeah.
you can come through and Brother Mike will be there in person. So you all may be able to connect sooner rather than later if you like to for the brunch time. And that's open to anyone that's here within our network that will be present. Again, you all, let's give a great round of gratitude to Baba Hakima for the presentation, for his sacrifice, the incarceration and perseverance to continue to be here and then move our people forward. Give thanks, Baba.
Thank you.
Thank you, Baba.
Ashe, ashe, ashe,
Thank you so
ashe.
much, and we appreciate you.
Free the land.
Thank you, Baba.
Do Bobby.
Thank you.
Thank you.